$431 could already be waiting for you, but only if you act right now. If you're a UK pensioner and haven't checked yet, you might miss out on this winter payment entirely. It's real money intended to help with winter bills, not a gimmick or a loan. Yet thousands are still leaving it unclaimed. Wake up to this. Cold homes, soaring energy costs, and the stress of knowing those bills are creeping up again. That extra $431 could seriously ease the burden, help you keep the heating on, stay warm without worrying about the meter, and reclaim some peace of mind this season. But time is running short. The government's winter payment scheme isn't open indefinitely. Once the window closes, that cash disappears forever. Many eligible pensioners don't even realize they qualify. Maybe you missed a letter or assumed you wouldn't be eligible. That's the exact trap countless people fall into. Meanwhile, households across the UK are scrambling to stay warm, budgeting down to the last pound and wondering how they'll make the winter stretch. It doesn't have to be you. This isn't charity, it's your rightful payment. You've paid into the system, contributed all those years, and helped build the foundations of the state pension. This winter top-up is simply part of the deal, but only if you claim it. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to check if you're eligible, where to claim your 431, and how to avoid the common mistakes that stop so many from getting what they deserve. No waiting, no forms lost in the post. Just clear, simple steps to make sure your winter is one less thing to worry about. Don't let this season slip by in silence. Don't let someone else get what should be yours. Click through and make sure you get that payment before it's gone for good. I prefer this response. The first thing we need to clear up before anything else is that countless people across the UK miss out on vital winter support simply because they assume it's automatic or because they've never double-checked their eligibility. And that's exactly why this information matters right now. Even if you think everything is already sorted, even if you've been receiving your winter payments for years, even if you've never had a problem with the DWP before, the truth is that every winter, the criteria, the systems, and the circumstances shift just enough that one overlooked detail can make the difference between receiving your support and being left out without realizing it. And when winter energy costs rise, when heating becomes a source of stress instead of comfort, when the weather turns sideways, and when every penny counts, that's not a risk anyone should quietly accept. That's why taking a moment to check your status, properly, directly, and officially, is worth more than most people realize. Right now, across the UK, people are sitting in their homes assuming everything is in motion while their eligibility hasn't been confirmed or their claim hasn't been updated or a missing detail is sitting somewhere in the system waiting to be resolved. And the DWP does not send a personal reminder to each individual saying, just a heads up, something might be missing. Instead, the payment either arrives or it doesn't, and by the time people notice, the season has already tightened around them and it becomes incredibly stressful to sort out. That's why the most important step, the one step that gives you certainty, is simply checking the official Gov UK winter support guidelines for your specific situation. Not your neighbour's situation, not what someone told you at the shops or online, not what you received last year, your actual current eligibility. There's something reassuring about knowing for certain where you stand, because winter is not the time for guesswork. And it's not just about one payment, it's about making sure you understand the full picture. Many pensioners qualify for additional schemes without realizing it. Some become entitled after a birthday. Some become eligible because of changes in their circumstances. Some qualify for pension credit and haven't applied yet, and pension credit alone can unlock doors to additional winter help. The number of people in the UK who could be receiving more support but aren't, simply because they haven't checked, is genuinely astonishing. Every year, millions of pounds in legitimate support go unclaimed, sitting there unused, unrequested, untouched, while the people who need it most are stretching their budgets thin, switching off their heating too early, or facing the winter with worry instead of stability. And that's why, in this video, the focus isn't hype or fear or rumors, it's clarity, real clarity, the type of clarity that puts control back in your hands. Because once you know where to look, once you know what to check, and once you understand the basics of how these winter schemes actually work, everything becomes simpler. You don't need to become an expert. You don't need to memorize all the rules. You only need to know the right starting point, and that starting point is always the same, gov.uk. It is the only official source. It's the only place where the information is guaranteed to be correct, up-to-date, and genuinely reflective of your exact situation. Anything else, articles floating around online, social media posts, rumors from friends, may contain bits of truth mixed with misunderstandings, old details, or assumptions. But the official site gives you certainty. What makes this such an emotional subject for so many people is that winter payments are not random handouts. They are designed to protect people who have contributed for decades, who built their communities, who raised families, who worked through difficult times, and who deserve the right to stay warm in their own homes without hesitation. The system exists to provide a layer of dignity and reassurance in the coldest months, not to create hoops to jump through. That's why ensuring you're on the correct records matters so much, because the support is meant for you, not meant to slip through cracks or get lost in bureaucracy. Too many pensioners have quietly suffered through winters believing they didn't want to be a bother or didn't think they were eligible, when in reality they absolutely qualified. No one should be quietly cold simply because they didn't feel confident checking what they were entitled to. Another thing worth mentioning is that the rules for winter support can change from year to year. Sometimes the eligibility dates shift, sometimes the payment structure adjusts, sometimes the qualifying week changes, and sometimes additional schemes are introduced temporarily depending on national conditions. The point is that assuming it's the same as last year can be a mistake. This is why taking a moment to check the current guidelines gives you real peace of mind. It removes the guesswork, it removes the doubt, and it ensures you know exactly what applies to your circumstances this year rather than relying on what applied in the past. What people often don't realize is that winter support isn't just one payment or one form of help. It's a network of different protections that all work together depending on your age, your health, your income, and your benefits. Winter fuel payment, cold weather payment, pension credit, support for low incomes, energy bill schemes, these all interconnect in different ways. One person might only qualify for one of them, while another person might qualify for 3 or 4, and if you don't check, you may get one but miss another. Some people think, I already receive one winter payment, so that must be everything, when in reality, they might be missing out on additional support without realizing it. Let's talk a moment about confidence, because one of the biggest barriers that stops people from checking their entitlements is simply the feeling that the process will be complicated or stressful. Many people imagine they'll have to fill out endless forms, make long phone calls, or navigate a confusing website. But here's the comforting truth. Checking your eligibility is often one of the simplest administrative tasks you can do. It's usually a few minutes, a few clicks, and everything is laid out in plain English. And if you ever feel unsure, there are helplines available, advisors available, and even family members or carers who can assist. You are not alone in this. The system is not designed to trick you. It's designed to help you. You just need to meet it halfway by checking the official source. Viewers always ask, but what if I check and it says I'm not eligible? And here's the important bit. Even then, you're not at a loss. Because knowing lets you plan. Knowing gives you clarity. Knowing lets you adjust without waiting around hoping that something will arrive mysteriously in your account. Uncertainty is the enemy. Certainty is the protection. And the people who take the small step of checking are always more prepared than the people who simply wait and hope for the best. That's why this message is not about panic. It's about empowerment. It's about understanding your rights, your benefits, and your options with confidence. Another thing worth discussing is how many people in the UK are unaware that pension credit alone can unlock access to several other winter support schemes. Pension credit is massively underclaimed every year. Thousands could be getting it, but aren't, simply because they've never checked. And for many pensioners, even a small top-up through pension credit creates additional eligibility for winter help, energy support, cost of living protections, and other practical benefits that make a real difference. The government has repeatedly encouraged people to check whether they qualify, because the number of eligible people who aren't claiming is worryingly high. So if you're watching this and you've never checked pension credit before, or if you checked years ago but your situation has changed since, now is the time to double-check. It takes minutes, but the impact can be enormous. Winter is a challenging season for many UK households. The pressure of keeping the heating on, the concern about energy usage, the unpredictability of the weather, it all builds up in ways that people sometimes underestimate. And while support schemes exist to cushion that pressure, they only work if the people who need them are aware of them and know how to access them. This is why videos like this matter. This is why conversations like this matter. Because somewhere out there is someone who genuinely needs this information, someone who will watch this, check GovVet UK, discover they are eligible, and go on to receive support they may otherwise have missed. And that makes a difference. A real difference. Not in theory, but in someone's actual day-to-day life. As you continue watching, I want you to think about your own situation. Does your current support match your expectations? Did you assume everything was already sorted? Have you been receiving winter payments regularly, or have there been years where something didn't arrive? Are you relying on an assumption rather than a confirmation? These questions aren't meant to worry you. They're meant to empower you. They nudge you to take a moment to check. One small action today can give you reassurance for the whole season, and if everything is in order, brilliant. You can relax knowing you've done your due diligence. And if something needs updating, now is the perfect time to sort it, rather than discovering it during the coldest part of the year. With all this said, remember that the Gov.uk website is straightforward. It doesn't overwhelm you with complicated jargon. It lays out the eligibility rules, age requirements, deadlines, and application steps clearly. And if you ever feel stuck, there are people ready to help, whether that's a support worker, a family member, or a DWP advisor over the phone. You're not being left alone to figure it out. The resources are there, you just have to start the process. As we continue deeper into this video, think of it as a moment to breathe, a moment to gather the information you need, a moment to understand your rights, a moment to step into winter with confidence rather than hesitation. You deserve that confidence. You deserve that support. You deserve a warm home without the weight of uncertainty pressing on your shoulders. And the first step to achieving that is incredibly simple. Check the official information. Don't rely on newspapers, social media, or rumors because they often mix outdated details with assumptions that may not apply to you. The only true source is Gov.uk, and that's where your certainty begins. Every winter, people across the UK share stories of how grateful they were to check, how relieved they felt when they confirmed their eligibility, or how surprised they were to find out they qualified for more support than they expected. And there are always others who say they wish they had checked earlier. The difference between these two groups is just a few minutes of attention. That's all, not hours of paperwork, not complicated forms, just a moment of clarity. And here's something powerful to reflect on. Checking your winter support isn't just about finances, it's about peace. It's about the feeling of being prepared, the assurance that you've taken the right steps, the comfort of knowing that when the temperatures drop and the days grow shorter, you are protected. That sense of security is something everyone deserves, especially after a lifetime of contributing, working, raising families, and doing your part for the country. No one should face winter with uncertainty, especially not pensioners who have lived through decades of change and contributed so much to this country. You deserve stability, you deserve warmth, you deserve straightforward access to the help you're entitled to, and that is exactly why checking the official information matters so deeply, not because something is wrong, but because it gives you control. The final message I want to leave you with in this body of the script is simple, calm, and empowering. Take a moment for yourself today. Look up your current winter support status on Gov.uk. Confirm everything matches your situation. Make sure nothing has changed without you knowing. And if you discover you're eligible for more support than you realized, then you've gained something incredibly valuable, not just financially, but emotionally. Because winter should be a season you approach with readiness, not worry. And now, as we move on to the next part of this video, you're already a step ahead. You're informed, you're aware, and you're ready to make decisions that protect your well-being throughout the colder months. That alone puts you in a stronger position than many others who never take that first simple step.